Comrade Dr. Wani Iga, Deputy Chairman of the SPLM and Vice President of the Republic, Comrade members of the Political Bureau, Comrade members of the SPLM National Secretariat. Well, before that, members of the SPLM National Liberation Council. طبعا في ناس أخذوا فنس والي. Members of the SPLM National Secretariat, Comrade members of the SPLM Youth and Women Leagues, representatives of other political parties, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all into the SPLM National Liberation Council ordinary meeting. I am happy to be with you and deliberate with you today on issues of importance to our party and our country. Dear comrades, I would like to emphasize why it is important to have this National Liberation Council meeting. As you all know, every revolutionary movement and party must always have an obligation to reorganize itself ideologically and structurally. Its human resources and mandate to meet political and socio-economic challenges of the day. When we look back as liberation movement leaders, we must reflect on our achievements. These stories stem from the way hard decisions were taken collectively in the political conventions or in the meetings of the National Liberation Council. In 1987, the SPLM-SPLA leadership then took a very wise and bold decision to reconcile and unite with the Nyanya two forces. The result was capturing of towns from the enemy forces, the widening of the SPLM-SPLA popularity, and internationally, the unity of people and facilitating population access to humanitarian services in the liberated areas. Again, the reunification of the SPLM-SPLA in 2002, after the 1991 split, made SPLM restore its glory. It also forced the enemy to accept peace talks, which resulted in the signature of the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, CPA, in 2005. In November 2008, the SPLM called for a reconciliation meeting with all militia and political opposition groups as an extension of the 2000 South-South Dialogue meeting. The militia forces were all integrated into the SPLA, and politicians were accommodated in various positions. And this was said before by my colleagues who talked before me, that there were people who, from the SPLM, who sacrificed their positions to accommodate those who were coming in. This is very important. For that reason, the SPLM won a landslide victory against rather political parties in the first democratic elections in our country in 2010. This was followed with a successful referendum that brought independence, where all of us became first-class citizens in our own country for the first time. These are some few examples to indicate that when we are united, we claim victories against all the odds. Following the Arusha agreement, but before going to that, when we called for the convention in 2008, my colleagues in Khartoum, namely President Bashir and Ali Osman Mohamed Taha, advised me not to call for the convention. They were strongly advising me not to attend the convention. But I said, we have to do it, because this is what our regulations say. They were afraid that the inqilab, which happened 2013, was going to happen in my presence, and that I would be assassinated. But I refused. I said, should it happen to me in Juba, well and good. And I came. Nobody dreamt of assassinating me or doing anything to change the government. But somebody from the group, while we were sitting in Nyakuren, the group that held the conference in the SPLM house, just when I left for Paris, there was a conference, a press conference, held by those of Dengalor. Those people did not come to the closing meeting, and there somebody came driving in a full speed and fired at where we were sitting. So this is what happened. Following the Arusha Agreement of 2015 between the SPLM and other SPLM splinter groups, it was assumed that the members of these groups would return to SPLM as recommended by the Grantos, CCM of Tanzania, NRM of Uganda, and the ANC of South Africa. These were three comrades who were actually behind the reunification. The SPLM rebirth program, the SPLM constitution was amended in 2016 to incorporate the Arusha Agreement in order to accommodate the demands of these groups and to facilitate their return. Today, many of our cadres who signed the Arusha Agreement have returned to the party, with the exception of a few who decided to form their own political parties. For that reason, the party is now declared united, and the implementation of the Arusha Agreement is now completed. The SPLM Rebirth Program, which started early this year in 2022, has already laid down the foundation and roadmap for organization of the party and marshalling of grassroots support behind the party. The reason for convening the NLC is for SPLM to renew itself and again power which we lost through compromises and sacrifices for the sake of peace. We gave up positions and resources to accommodate our adversaries at the expense of our cadres. Today, we want to strengthen the SPLM cadres so that they can take up their responsibilities with confidence and without being undecided. Based on the SPLM Constitution 2008, amended 2016, whereby the National Liberation Council is called upon for important deliberations and passing of resolutions, I call on the NLC to discuss and pass the following items in the agenda. One, the NLC needs A, to approve replacement of members of the NLC who died, defected, or incapacitated in accordance with the recommendations of the SPLM in the states and administrative areas. B, to approve the expansion of the NLC from the chairman's nominee list of 2008 by adding a few members for fair representation of states and administrative areas in the political bureau. 2, consideration and approval of the newly nominated political bureau members. 3, to empower the chairman to fill the position of the deputy chairman. And 4, to discuss and approve the SPLM basic documents. A, SPLM Code of Conduct and Disciplinary Procedures. B, SPLM Financial Management Rules and Regulations. To you, comrades, from the National Liberation Council, I ask you all to support peace so that development can take place. The revitalized peace agreement has been extended for 2 more years to enable implementation of the agreement before the general elections. Of course, all of us know that the reason why we accepted the extension of the agreement was because if we went the way we are, we may land in war, because there are because there are people who would want to remain in the offices where they are today. Whether there is something happening or there is nothing happening, it is good for them to stay there. We did not, such people, if we just go without convincing them, they will fight us and the war will go back, which I don't want. The revitalized peace agreement has been extended for 2 more years to enable implementation of the agreement before the general elections. During this time, we need to work hard to win confidence of our people and unite them for nation and state building efforts. Now there is war in Upper Nile. I don't know who is behind that war. And because of our concern about the lives of citizens there, we found that the Chola king was threatened, and that there were voices from those who are fighting them calling for the head of the king of Shuluk. I don't know what do they go and do with the head of a dead person. They cut off many heads when somebody invaded Malakal, and many people were found dead without heads. So what did they do with those heads? For Lomanenu Shubnal Kalamda, and the king was in Fashoda, we tried to remove him. So we sent a boat to bring him to Malakal. And from Malakal yesterday, he was lifted by air to Juba here. Now he is here. The king is safe. And I will meet him. Haja Isumu White Army there. Who is the commander-in-chief of the White Army? Lord Riek Machar, because he was the one who named them. If he is the one commanding them, he must be realistic. People must now come down to implement the agreement, and so that we don't die any longer. Having retraced the historical path of our party formation, achievements, challenges, and lessons learned in the process, I now declare